Now your local news.
And coming up next on WAFB 9 News, things are grim in the attempts to reach that Russian submarine, which may have become a coffin for 118 sailors. And why did a natural gas line explode, killing a bunch of kids at a New Mexico campground? Your news is next.
You're watching WAFB 9 News at 10.
And hello, everyone. I'm Paul Gates. Well, more grim information is coming out of Russia about the nuclear submarine submerged in 350 feet of water tonight. The Deputy Prime Minister says there may be a body stuck inside an escape chamber. Richard Roth has the latest on efforts to board that submarine.
With a live camera following their work, Norwegian divers were at the bottom of the sea just hours after they got to the rescue zone, looking for a way into the crippled Russian sub.
Before we do anything to it, I'd like to get you both off the hatch.
Shipboard specialists 350 feet above gave directions. This is the first close-up look at the escape hatch the Russian Navy has been saying is too damaged to open.
Because we don't know where the water ingress is going to be.
The Norwegians say it looks okay. They think there's an air pocket behind it and say it probably can be opened once a miniature rescue sub is lowered to put a watertight docking collar in place. It's what Russian sailors have been trying to do for 7 days, while Russia's government first said help from foreign experts and equipment wasn't needed, then that it was arriving too late to save anyone. After meeting today with the submarine fleet's design chief, Russian President Putin said he's following developments with tears in his eyes, and that sometimes events are beyond anyone's control. At the Vidyayevo Naval Base, home port of the Kursk submarine, that's the tone of the message the Navy is delivering to relatives of the crew. But for some, there's new hope now that foreigners have joined the rescue effort. I'm pinning all my hopes, says this mother, on the British and Norwegians. Suddenly now, an underwater camera controlled by foreigners is telling ordinary Russians more than they've been learning from their leaders all week. There are still no new signs any survivors will be found, but there's an expectation now the anguish of waiting is about to end. Richard Roth, CBS News, Murmansk.
In Concord, North Carolina, officials evacuated a large mall after a natural gas explosion at a nearby construction site. The blast shook the area outside the shopping complex northeast of Charlotte. Authorities report no injuries, but a fire was still burning. Officials say flames and debris shot 100 feet into the air. Traffic was rerouted for about an hour on a portion of Interstate 85, which runs beside the mall's property. The construction site was several hundred yards from the mall, which opened late last year. It's one of the largest malls in North Carolina. Hundreds of shoppers were inside the mall at the time of the blast. Many said they could feel the heat and the vibrations. But again, all shoppers and all persons have been accounted for, and there have been no injuries, miraculously. Well, federal investigators are trying to find out what caused a large natural gas pipeline to explode, killing 10 people on a weekend camping and fishing trip in southeast New Mexico. 2 other campers survived, and they are in critical condition, hanging to life at a Lubbock, Texas hospital tonight. Jacqueline Adams has the latest.
All that remains are 3 charred vehicles where members of 3 generations of a Carlsbad, New Mexico family lost their lives. A fireball shot flames through the family's campsite after a natural gas pipeline exploded 5 to 6 feet underground. The result, a 20-foot deep crater, almost the size of a football field. 10 people, including 5 children, were killed, and 2 remain in critical condition.
We don't know what the cause of the accident was, but I can tell you that that mine was inspected as recently as earlier this month. It had a full corrosion inspection earlier this year.
We saw no indication that it was third-party damage or foul play.
National Transportation Safety Board investigators are on the scene, but they, like a growing chorus of critics, worry that the Federal Office of Pipeline Safety isn't doing enough to prevent accidents along this nation's 2.2 million miles of aging pipeline. Last month, the General Accounting Office report accused the OPS of not enforcing 22 of 49 pipeline safety regulations passed by Congress since 1988. And the report found that on average, 22 people died every year from 1988 to 1999 in pipeline explosions, similar to the one in Bellingham, Washington last June that killed 3 teenagers. The Office of Pipeline Safety defends its record. At the church where the families who were killed worshiped, there were only questions.
And we do not understand why a 2-year-old individual would be taken from us.
No government explanation can heal this loss. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, New York.
It's been a day of rest for George W. Bush. The GOP presidential candidate is scheduled to resume campaigning tomorrow with stops in Milwaukee and Des Moines, Iowa. Bush plans to continue stretching his education agenda, and when he gets back on the stump, he'll be backstopped by a new advertising campaign blitz. The new ads, which began airing today in 21 states, stick closely to Bush's convention pledge to renew the promise of America's public schools. Al Gore is sticking to his populist theme as he continues his post-convention trip down the Mississippi. Gore told a crowd of more than 5,000 in Moline, Illinois, that he's running for president because he wants to make things better for American families. He told the supporters he has no ulterior motive. Running mate Joe Lieberman rejoined the tour today after a break for the Jewish Sabbath. Lieberman said Republican opponents George W. Bush and Dick Cheney are trying to sound like Democrats. Well, Al Gore's 17-year-old son has a September 13th court date to face speeding and reckless driving charges in North Carolina. The State Highway Patrol says Albert Gore III was arrested August 12th after he was clocked going 97 miles an hour in a 55-mile-per-hour zone. First Sergeant A.C. Joyner says the boy was cooperative when he was stopped. A spokeswoman for Tipper Gore says Albert was alone at the time. He was heading home to Washington after a family vacation along North Carolina's Outer Banks. She says the Gores are dealing with this incident as a family matter. Well, paramedics took a 4-year-old girl and a 2-year-old to Baton Rouge General Hospital today following a 4-car wreck on Airline Highway. Both those children in serious condition tonight. Baton Rouge police made it out to the crash site near Prescott just before 3 o'clock this afternoon. The little 4-year-old girl in the accident had suffered a skull fracture. 2 other adults in the car also went to the hospital. Officers still investigating the cause of this crash. Witnesses said the driver of the truck involved may have been drinking. There have been no reported charges of intoxication against the driver of the truck, and he has not been identified. 2 other people were hurt but refused to go to the hospital. And coming up next here on WFB 9 News, well, this house is probably worth a couple of $100,000, but you can get it for a flat $100. And we'll tell you how you can do that when we come back.
Stronger storms during the afternoon and evening, giving way mostly to fair skies out there. Still a little bit of light rain south of the capital city and some strong storms out over Atchafalaya Bay. But the worst of it is over. We'll tell you what's coming up for the rest of the week in just a couple of minutes.